Now, mutually exhaustive events, if I define two events, A and B, on a sample space S, A and B, if I define two events on a sample space S, then remember A and B are said to be mutually exhaustive if A union B is equal to the sample space S. That is, either A or B is sure to occur. Okay, that is A or B is sure to occur, then we say that A and B are mutually exhaustive events. In case of n events, not only two events, n events are said to be mutually exhaustive if their union is equal to the sample space. That is, any one of the events is sure to occur, either A1 or A2 or A3, or any one of the events is sure to occur. Let us see an example in this regard. What it actually means. You see, I have given you an example here that a bag contains four white balls, red balls, and four green balls. Okay, a ball is drawn at random from the bag. Okay, uh, this is your this will give you your sample space. If you draw a bag, if you draw a ball from the bag, what are you going to get? You are either going to get a white ball, or you're going to get a red ball, or you're going to get a green ball, right? Now, on this sample space, if I define the event E1 as the ball is white, E2 as the ball is red, and E3 as the ball is green, then obviously E1 intersection E2 is the ball drawn is white and green, white and red. Can a ball be white and red at the same time? It cannot be, right? So therefore, E1 intersection E2 is an impossible event. That is, you have E1 intersection E2 is a null set. So E1 intersection E2 is E1 and E2 are mutually exclusive events. Okay. Similarly, E2 intersection E3. The ball cannot be red and green at the same time. It is either red or green, right? Because you're drawing one ball. So therefore, similarly, E2 intersection E3 is also a null set. That means it is an impossible event. And similarly, E3 intersection E1 will be a null set. These are mutually exclusive events. Okay. Now, if you see, if you take the union of these three events, E1 union E2 union E3, what is this event? The ball drawn is either white or red or green. Obviously, if a bag contains all these three colors of balls, and if you're drawing one ball, it will definitely be either be a white or a red or a green, right? So therefore, what you see is that E1 union E2 union E3 will be equal to the sample space. Okay, so that is why these events E1, E2, E3 are said to be mutually exhaustive. Okay, so that is the definition of mutually exhaustive events. And one more thing which needs mention here, that for the three events, you see that E1 intersection E2 is a null set, E2 intersection E3 is a null set, and E3 intersection E1 is also a null set, which means that these events, we say E1, E2, and E3 are pairwise. Pairwise means taken two at a time. Pairwise mutually exclusive. Okay, remember this term. We shall be discussing this after this. What is the difference between mutually exclusive events and pairwise mutually exclusive events? Okay, pairwise means taken two at a time. If the events are mutually exclusive, then they are called mutually exclusive, pairwise mutually exclusive events. Okay, and as far as mutually exhaustive is concerned, this definition will suffice for you. E1 union E2 union E3. If it is equal to the sample space, then these events are called mutually exhaustive events. Okay, mutually exclusive you will come across a lot in probability. Now we come to the definition of probability, the classical definition of probability. Now, if you remember in back in class 10, we discussed this definition. The probability of an event A is equal to number of outcomes favorable to A divided by total number of possible outcomes. Right? This is the definition that I mentioned to you in class 10. Right? Now we are going to modify this definition a little, because now that we know the definition of mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely events, we shall uh, modify this definition a little. Out here, we are going to learn this definition of probability. That is, number of events favorable to the event A, or you can also say outcome in this case. Okay, you can replace this word with outcome also. Okay, number of outcomes favorable to the event A divided by, now the main definition here, the difference between the two definition comes in the denominator part. Number of outcomes that are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely. Okay, this. Let us consider, I will consider a small example, but before that, let me just show you what the deductions are. Now, once we have defined the definition of probability in this, it can be shown that from this definition only, it can be shown that the probability of any event A lies between 0 and 1. It can also be shown from this definition that the probability of a sure event is 1, and that the probability of an impossible event is 0. Also, we also know the fourth definition also, that of complementary event, that if A bar is a complementary event, then the probability of the complementary event is equal to 1 minus probability of the given event. Okay, all these can be shown with the help of this definition. Sometimes this is also called as the axiomatic theory of probability. Okay, in fact, it works both ways. From the definition of probability, you can show all these four, and assuming all these four, you can also deduce the classical definition of probability. Okay, so all these you know, but except for a few special terms here, all these you somewhat know. Okay, let us now discuss some examples from mutually exclusive and exhaustive and equally likely events. Okay, what do you mean by all this? Look at this. 3 coins are tossed. Okay, and you have certain questions. Describe 2 events A and B which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Now on this sample space, we are going to define 2 events that are mutually exclusive and exhaustive at the same time. Okay, so first of all, when we start this, we shall first write the sample space. What is the sample space here? It is the set of all possible outcomes. So sample space S is equal to, you can get all 3 heads, you can get 2 heads and 1 tail. This is also 2 heads and 1 tail. This is also 2 heads and 1 tail. Okay, you can get 2 tails and 1 heads. And you can also get all 3 tails. This is the sample space, right? If you count, the number of outcomes are 2 cube, which is equal to 8, because because 2 coins are tossed, right? So that is why the number of outcomes is 2 cubes. So here, if the number of outcomes, if you see all these events, each event here is mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely. So therefore, number of events here that are mutually exclusive. This is just for you to note. Mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely is equal to 2 cube is equal to 8. Why mutually exclusive? Because if you get 3 heads, then obviously you will not get any of the other 3, any of the other 7, right? Suppose if you get 2 heads and 1 tail, HHT, then obviously you will not get all the other 7s, right? So all these are mutually exclusive. Why are they mutually exhaustive? Because if you take the union of any event that you define on this, and if you take the union, you're going to get the sample space. So these are mutually exhaustive also. And equally likely. Any reason to believe that I will get this and not this? No reason. So therefore, each of these events is equally likely, right? So that is why we say number of outcomes or number of events that are mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely is equal to 8. The number of elements in the sample space will be mutually exclusive, exhaustive, and equally likely. Okay. Now let us look at the first question. Describe any two events that are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So if I define two events on this, this type of question you won't get. Okay. This is just for your understanding. Suppose if I define two events, A as getting at least two heads, and if I define the event B as getting at least two tails. Okay. Therefore, what is the event A here? The event A is getting at least two heads means two or three heads in this case, right? So HHT, HTH, THH, and HHH, right? This is the event A. What about the event B? Either two tails or three tails. Right? These are the events. Now, if you see, you need, are these events mutually exclusive? You see that if you calculate A intersection B, you see the intersection of these two. Any common element between these two? You see that there is no common element between these two. Therefore, A intersection B is a null set. That is, A intersection B, that is A and B cannot occur simultaneously. Let's write this as, that is, A and B cannot occur simultaneously. Right? So if A and B cannot occur simultaneously, hence we say A and B are mutually exclusive. Even intuitively, from common sense, right? If three coins are tossed, okay, and can you get two heads and can you get at least two heads and at least two tails at the same time? Just think intuitively. Can you get at least two
No,
heads and at least two tails at the same time? Can you get?
no, no, sir.
You even intuitively, if you see, you cannot get, because two tails, if you get, you'll get definitely get a one head. You cannot get two heads, right? So if you are getting say two heads, HH, you'll get one T, isn't it? One tail you're going to get. So you cannot get at least two tails. So even intuitively, if you see, these two events are mutually exclusive. Okay. And how to check whether these are mutually exhaustive? Take the union. A union B, if you see, is equal to S. If you take the union of these two events, it will give you the sample space. Hence, A and B are mutually exhaustive. Okay. That should clarify a little more the definition of mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Okay. Let us see the next question. The next question here is, describe two events A and B which are not mutually exclusive. Okay. Describe three events, not two. Three events A, B, and C which are mutually exclusive and okay. Describe three events A, B, and C which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. So in the first case, we had two events we described which are mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Here we are going to define three events. So let us define the following events. A is an event that I define as getting at most two heads. right? B is an event that I define as getting two heads. And C is an event that I define as getting three heads. Now I have defined the events here. Intuitively, if you see the events, can A, B, and C occur together? Can A and B occur together? Or can B and C occur together? Or can A and C occur together? Or can A, B, and C all occur together? Just check. First of all, consider A and B. Can you get at most two heads and can you get two heads together? You cannot, isn't it? At most two heads means you got to have two heads. And therefore you cannot get two heads at the same time because you're tossing only three coins. You're not tossing four coins, right? So A and B have to be mutually exclusive. Similarly, you can check B and C and A and C. And if you check for A, B, and C, is it possible that A, B, and C can occur together? Definitely not. They cannot occur together, right? So therefore, but in case of sets, how do we check this? How do we check this in sets? So A is the event HTT because at most two heads means um, um, at most one head. Sorry, at most one head. This is not two heads. This is at most one head. Okay. So this is HTT, THT, TTH, and all three tails. B is the event getting two heads. So two heads you can get in how many ways? HHT, HTH, and THH, right? And C is the event all three heads. That means all three. This is a singleton set. Okay, so all three heads. So now if you check A intersection B, if you see that nothing is common between A intersection B. So A intersection B is a null set. That is A and B cannot occur simultaneously, right? Next, A intersection C is also a null set. That is A and C cannot occur simultaneously. Also, you see B intersection C, there's nothing common between B and C. It is B and C cannot occur simultaneously. So what do we say? We say also what you can see here is that you have to see A intersection B intersection C. A intersection B intersection C is equal to, if you see anything common between the three sets, nothing is common. So we say that is A, B, and C cannot occur simultaneously, right? So what do we say? So hence A, B, and C are pairwise mutually exclusive. Why pairwise mutually exclusive? Because of these three. And they are also mutually exclusive events. Now you understand the difference between pairwise mutually exclusive and mutually exclusive, right?
Yes.
So, so these three events, now we want to show that these are mutually exhaustive also. So if you see, if you take the union of these three, you will get the sample space. Hence, A, B, and C are mutually exhaustive events. Okay. So therefore, what can you say? A, B, and C are mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. That is, A, B, and C are mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. Okay, so that finishes your second part. So I hope the definition of mutually exclusive, pairwise mutually exclusive and mutually exclusive is somewhat clearer.
Yes, sir.
Let us see the third question here. The third question is, describe two events A and B which are not mutually exclusive. So let us define these two events. A is an event, I say, getting at most two heads. Okay, at most two heads means either no head or one head or two heads, but not three heads. Okay, and B is the event, let us define it as getting exactly two tails. Right now, intuitively, tell me, can these two events occur together? Can you get two heads, at most two heads, and exactly two tails at the same time? Yes, you can.
Mm.
Two tails you can get, and you can get one head, right? So even event A is occurring and B is occurring both at the same time. What else? TTT,
Yes, sir.
even this, right? Oh, this is exactly two tails. So two tails, uh, yes, these two can occur together in this case. TTH, also THT, right? Two tails you are getting, and one head you are getting. At most one head you're getting one head, right? So this means that also TTT, yes, TTT is also possible because at most one head means even if you don't get any head, it's okay. So two heads, exactly two heads you are getting here. So whatever is this doesn't matter, right? So intuitively, even if you see, these two are not mutually exclusive events. Now let us see in sets what it means. A is the event getting at most two heads, means I can get two heads, HHT, I can get HTH, I can get HTT, I can get THH, I can get THT, I can get TTH, I can get all three tails, right? At most two heads. So if you see two heads, here again two heads, here one head, here two heads, here one head, and no head. So at most two heads, so all these uh, outcomes are satisfying, right?
Yes, sir.
B, getting exactly two heads, getting exactly two heads. HTT is one of them. You can get a THT also, and you can also get a TTH, right? So exactly two heads here, right? Now let us check A intersection B. A intersection B, if you see, is HTT, THT, and TTH also. That means it is not equal to a null set, right? So hence A and B are not mutually exclusive events. Fine. So that answers question number 3. Let us move on to question number 4. Okay, tell me. If I define the event A as it is raining, and if I define the event B as a student passes in the exam, are these two mutually exclusive?
No, sir.
These are not mutually exclusive. They can occur together, right? It can rain and a student can pass at the same time. Okay, let us look at the fourth one. Describe three events E, B, and C which are not mutually exclusive. Now, instead of two, you can define three. You are asked to define three events. So if I define the event A as getting exactly one head, and if I define the event B as getting at most two heads, and if I define the event C as getting exactly two tails, right? Then are these mutually exclusive? Can they occur together? Can you get one head? And can you get at most two heads? And can you get exactly two tails? Yes, of course I can. TTH, one of them. See, exactly one head I am getting. And at most one head also, because at most one head means you are permitted to have a one head, right? So this event, if you see, is in this event, all the three events are occurring together, right? So these obviously intuitively, if you see, this is mutually exclusive. Now let's see in case of sets. A is equal to, you'll get HTT, you can get THT, and you can get TTH, right? B is the event in which you can get at most two heads, again, just as last time we did, HHT, HTH, HTT, THH, THT, TTH, okay, and TTT, right? So at most two heads. And C is the set HTT, THT, and TTH, right? So now if you see A intersection B intersection C, okay, let's see A intersection B first. A intersection B, if you see, what is common between these two? HTT is there, THT is there, and TTH is there, which is not equal to a null set. Similarly, B intersection C is not equal to a null set, and A intersection C is also not equal to a null set. Therefore, what do we say? A, B, and C are pairwise mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive, right? What about A intersection B intersection C? What is common between all these three? HTT, THT, and TTH, which is not equal to a null set, right? So hence, A, B, and C are mutually exclusive events. They are pairwise mutually exclusive also, but they are also mutually exclusive. Okay. Clear your head as far as mutually exclusive events are concerned, because this concept will keep haunting you. Let us see the fifth question. The fifth question here is describe two events A and B which are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. Okay, which are mutually exclusive but not exhaustive. So let us define these events. Let us define the event A as getting exactly one head. And let us define the event B as getting exactly two heads. Okay. Now just from the definition, are these two mutually exclusive? Can you get exactly one head and exactly two heads at the same time? Obviously not, isn't it? You can, if you are getting exactly one head, you cannot get exactly two heads, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
sets wise, this is A is the event, HTT, THT, TTH. And what is the event B? Exactly two heads means HHT, HTH, and THH. This is the event B. So you see that A intersection B here is a null set. That is, A and B cannot occur together. Hence, A and B are mutually exclusive events. Okay. Now, are they exhaustive? Take the union and check. A union B. If you see A union B, how many events are there? Even if you take union, there are only 6. But in the sample space, how many events? There are 6 events, right? So A union B is not equal to S. Hence, A and B are not mutually exhaustive events. Okay. So that is that. Fine.